Today, Emily woke up late. The wall clock already showed 9:30. Wow, the woman was surprised herself. It's time to get up, and she immediately calmed down. It's Sunday, no need to hurry. And her husband suddenly left on a business trip. She won't even have to make breakfast, because she had long been used to having just coffee with a sandwich in the mornings. The woman was lying in bed, sweetly squinting. The severe pain in her side that had been bothering her all this time seemed to have decided to give her a break. That's probably why she slept so long. She lowered her feet from the bed and sweetly stretched, listening to herself. There was no pain. How wonderful! Emily smiled. Why not do a cleanup for this occasion? Poor health had not allowed the woman to put the apartment in order properly for 2 weeks now. Of course, she maintained cleanliness as much as she could, but the nature of a tidy woman still demanded more. Emily was sitting in the kitchen, enjoying her morning coffee and mentally making a plan. Now she will start with the windows, and by lunch, she will get to the chandelier, if only the pain does not come back before she finishes everything, and then immediately bent over from a sudden spasm. Daydreamer. The disappointment flashed through the woman's mind. She bit her lip from the wave of encircling pain and fumbled on the shelf looking for pills. Today, Emily couldn't even get dressed, which had never happened before, she thought despondently. Swallowing painkillers, she needed to get ready to agree to surgery, with detachment, waiting for the medicine to take effect. To get ready mentally, put paperwork at work in order. She won't be there soon. A long rehabilitation. Well, she and Jake will cope. Fortunately, the money for treatment is saved. As she felt, she saved it from work, and they throw off their salaries together. And how strange that he hasn't been sent on a business trip anywhere for a long time. He said that he had traveled enough. Now it's time for the young people. Well, it doesn't matter. She will wait for her husband and go to the clinic when the pain subsides a little. When the pain receded a little, Emily called the attending physician who had been treating her for the past 2 years and told him about the new unpleasant symptoms. He even swore, "I warned you, well, with your illness, you can't drag your feet. I'm waiting for you in the clinic soon. We will prepare for surgery." And then he hesitated a little. "The amount we discussed will grow slightly, inflation. But it will be from the first. And if you pay today or tomorrow, it will remain the same. So decide, pay, and I'm waiting for you." The woman perked up. "Well, why is she sitting here when there is money?" She rushed to the table, feverishly pulling out a folder with documents from the clinic. She needed to immediately see the account number and transfer the funds, because the amount was not small anyway. Not to mention that it is unknown how much it will increase from next month. Emily opened online banking on her laptop and forgot how to breathe. Her reserve card was empty, absolutely empty, and the woman's eyes blurred. This simply could not be. She had not told anyone the PIN, did not click on links, and had never used that card anyway. Horror like an icy snake slid down. So no operation for her. She will never be healthy. Emily did not remember how long she lay in a stupor, curled up like a bun, and when the pain finally released her, she opened her eyes and began to think very slowly. But the ability to think rationally was returning, and it turned out that only her husband could withdraw money from the account, because only Jake knew the password to her account. And what's wrong with that? She also knew his password. Of course it was him. He probably lent it to someone, hoping that the money would not be needed for a long time. Now she will look at his accounts and calm down, and her husband will come and explain everything. With trembling hands, the woman opened the next tab and froze. Her husband's card, like their joint account, was empty. Emily rushed to call her beloved, but his phone did not answer. This was another oddity. After all, they had an agreement to call each other obligatorily once a day, but perhaps Jake was busy, and she had to wait. Time dragged on unbearably, but after 3 hours, her husband finally picked up the phone. "Jake, don't you remember yourself?" The woman screamed. "Did you take the money from the card where I saved up for treatment?" The man on the other end was annoyed. "Listen, Don't you have anything better to do? You distract me with trifles. I have no time. It's just crazy here. What card are you talking about? Explain." But Emily had already heard the falsity in his intonation. Not for nothing, they had been married for almost 10 years. "You hear me?" she said in an icy voice. "Answer me. Did you take it or not?" "I called the bank. They confirmed that the transfer was made legally. Where did you put the money?" There was silence in the tube, and then Jake's voice broke out, flipping into a squeak. "And what exactly happened?" "Well, I took that money. I took it." "What? Don't I have the right to it? I'm your husband, so all the property and money are common to us." Emily felt tears rolling down her cheeks. "What common?" she exhaled. "You knew I needed treatment. You knew. And that this is an untouchable reserve. You also knew." She threw away the phone as if it had burned her. How could he? This is pure betrayal. What could he have spent such a huge amount on? Or who? It suddenly dawned on her that Jake was not on a business trip at all, and to confirm her guess, she called her husband's colleague and friend. She wondered where they had sent her spouse, saying that there was not any connection, and her friend spilled out as if confessing that there was no business trip at all. Jake simply took time off at his own expense. Even the boss's anger did not stop him, and there were only 2 left to work anyway. Emily lay in the dark. It hurt, but much less than her soul hurt. What kind of betrayal? What cruelty? How could he fall out of love and cheat? Tell me honestly. But to rob her, leave her sick without money, it did not fit in her head. And the culprit of it all turned out to be Vanessa, whom Jake met at the New Year's corporate party. His wife did not go then because of another attack, so the man had fun to the fullest, hit on a girl in the restaurant next door, right under her suitor's nose. "Jake, honey, I want the Maldives." The charmer took control of him literally a month later. All my girlfriends were there, and I wasn't. Jake thought, wasn't he spending too much on a young body? "V, curb your appetites. I did buy you an apartment and recently got you a fur coat and earrings with brilliants for your birthday. Did you forget?" "What else, Maldives? I don't print money." But her friend would not give up, knowing perfectly well the price of her 20-year-old beauty and sweetness. After all, this balding piglet is just another daddy for her. "Well, Jockey," she pouted her lips, "let's at least fly to the Mediterranean. It's so easy for you. You are a real man. You will find the money for your pussycat." "Well, please." And Jake surrendered. "Oh, once you live, not a woman's dream. When he will have such luck again, the years are running out, he is not getting younger. The chance to experience all the colors of life again turned up, you can't miss it. After all, it will be real Hollywood. He is a twig, a yacht, champagne, and the ocean. He daydreamed. So he began to taste the forbidden pleasures. After all, he also had the right to this money, so they threw salaries together. And what if Jake contributed less? He has more personal needs than his wife. By the way, Emily is not dying yet. She will save up again. But after returning from a romantic trip, Jake had to pack his bags and leave for a rented apartment. Emily barely talked to him. She just announced that she had filed for divorce and division of property, and she had changed the locks, which eloquently testified that the apartment was not waiting for Jake, although he understood that it was Emily's before the wedding. The woman found money for the operation, friends helped, and the bank where she took out a loan, and her ex was enjoying life to the fullest with the young charmer. So hot and insatiable, what happiness had come his way. True, not for long. One evening, Jake was simply not allowed into the house, no matter how much he called and knocked on the door, tormented by jealousy, because his mistress was inside and Vanessa was not opening to him. "Open up, I know you're in there," he shouted in despair into the keyhole. Well, it would have been better if he had left voluntarily, because finally the door swung open. Only instead of the beloved, a young bouncer playing with the cubes of his abs stood on the threshold. "What do you want?" he asked Jake completely disrespectfully. "This is my apartment. I live here," he said, not very confidently, making a weak attempt to get into the apartment and immediately receiving a strong blow to the solar plexus. Having barely caught his breath, the man resentfully squeaked. "What are you doing? I'll call the police now," the young bodybuilder grinned. "Oh, the police. Well then, meet another one after the other." Well-aimed blows rained down on Jake, and he safely departed into oblivion. He came to a hospital bed, and the doctor who came to the ward delighted him. "You are lucky there were so many fractures, and not a single vital organ was affected." Then an investigator came, questioned him, and recorded his testimony. It's just that finding the one who beat Jake is almost impossible because he didn't even remember his face. Jake didn't care about the offender. He just wanted Vanessa to come, but his beloved still didn't come for some reason. And this is offensive. Jake had done so much for her, lost his own family, and before being discharged, the man was struck by what the attending doctor told him. It almost killed the hapless Jake. "You have tested positive for HIV, he grimly informed him. "Did you know about this?" Jake shook his head dejectedly. "How to live now," and the doctor softened slightly. "After discharge, get registered and start treatment, you know. If you don't let it go—" The doctor was saying something else, but Jake was quietly crying, turning away to the window. Emily was walking through the spring park, enjoying the long-awaited warm days. The operation went well, and now the woman was recovering, gaining strength, and soon back to work. The other day, she saw her ex fleetingly. He didn't look good, a young body or just paying for everything in this life, for betrayal and pleasures too, especially if you look for them on the side. Subscribe to our channel and go ahead and listen to the next story, because this story is nothing compared to the next one.